service was built upon the bracha, the blessing. And the key words of the blessing are Baruch atah Adonai, right? So if you notice, the Michamocha ends with Baruch atah Adonai. And if you go a couple pages before, well, it ends with Baruch atah Adonai. And the next page, the Hashkivenu, also ends in Baruch atah Adonai. It's a series of brachas. The first one in the series will start with Baruch atah Adonai, and that was the Ma'ariv Aravim. And each one just has Baruch atah Adonai at the end. And I questioned to myself, where did this phraseology come from? We all know it, right? We say motzi over bread and the candles. It's all Baruch atah Adonai. Where does it come from? I have an interesting computer program. It's the Talmud on computer. The Talmud quotes Baruch atah Adonai 36 times. Double chai, right? So they're talking about when should you say this blessing, but where did it come from? And I searched the Torah. It comes nowhere in the Torah. Nowhere in the Torah are the words Baruch atah Adonai. So where does it come from? Anybody know? King David. The book of Chronicles. King David is ready to give his kingdom to his son Solomon, and he calls for God's blessing. And he says, Baruch atah Adonai Elohei Yisrael Avinu me'olam va'ad olam. Blessed are you, Adonai, God of Israel, our Father, forever and ever. And then he goes on to expand his blessing with more words, just like all these, you know. And do you know what he says? He says, Lecha Adonai hagedul, that what we say when we take the Torah out. That all comes from King David. So King David gave us the bracha, the blessings. Oh, it's also in one of the Psalms, which is also ascribed to King David. But let's continue. Let's go to page 43 at the top. Read with me, please. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace, rise up waiting to tell your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu Yisrael ve'al Yerusha. We now turn to page 44, and we have one of two songs to sing, Vishamru or Yismachu. Who wants to hear Vishamru? Who wants to hear Yismachu? Vishamru wins. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berito. I'd like to point out a little footnote on page 45. It says, more than the Jewish people has kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. Achad ha'am. Achad ha'am means one of the people. Achad ha'am was a German immigrant to Israel before it was Israel, and he and his philosophers knew that in order to make a Jewish homeland, they needed Jewish language. And he helped reconstitute Hebrew to be a modern language spoken by millions of people. And he wrote poetry and columns of newspapers. So this was his thought, that yes, we've kept Shabbat, but Shabbat has kept us as well. Profound statement. Let us rise for the tefillah, the prayer, the actual central portion of the service. It will start on page 46. We'll go in Hebrew until page 52, and then we'll go from there. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufiya ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'imaot Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechaye hakol atah Rav lehoshia Mahiv haruach u'morid hagashem Mechalkel chayim bechesed Mechaye hakol berachamim rabbi Somech noflim berofei cholim Umatir asurim Umekayehem emunato Lishenei afa Michamocha ba'al givurot Umido melach Melech meimit u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah lachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yalucha selah Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Now, if you've been following along, we're on page 52, right? Nobody got lost in Hebrew? Let us flip the page to page 55. Please read responsively with me at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal, may all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. There are those words again. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. That's a bracha. Let's keep going. Page 56. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amecha Yisrael Utefilatam be'ahava tikabel. Utehileratzon tamid avodat Yisrael. Yisrael amecha el karov lecho korav penei el avadecha v'chonenu shefoch ruchacha aleinu. Bottom of the page. V'techezena einenu beshuvecha l'tzion. Berachamim Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Letzion. Letzion, Letzion, Letzion. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose presence returns to Israel. And again, if you haven't seen a vibrant Jewish Jerusalem, Zion is Jerusalem, you must go. Must go. We continue on page 58. Modim anachnu lach she'atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu la'olam va'ed. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and God of our ancestors forever. Please read responsively with me on the bottom of page 59. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? You made us little less than divine. You gave us dominion over your handiwork. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, u'lecha na'el lahodaot. Continue on page 60. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasihim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasihim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasihim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasihim leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. B'chol eit u'v'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasihim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasihim leolam. Tasihim leolam. Tasihim leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael basha. Please be seated. So up until now, everything in the prayer book has been proscribed, written down. And in fact, if you go to any other synagogue, you'll find essentially the same thing. But this is the time when you can make the prayers in your own words, in your own phrase, in your own melody. So take a moment of silence and pray the words you wish. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael. So the tefillah is the central part of the service. And if you notice, we end with two prayers for peace. Shalom Rav, a great peace shall come over Israel. And Oseh Shalom bimromav, maker of peace from on high. Peace is something we all desire and pray that we have. We now ask for prayers of healing for those in our community who need our help and need to be healed. I'd like to first ask for help in healing from all those affected by the violence that's happened this week, especially in Nashville. The senseless killing of our children has got to stop. And I pray that we can make it happen. The rabbi asked me to offer a prayer for a young lady, member of a synagogue in Austin, Texas, also named Temple Beth Shalom, Maya Gonzalez, who has gone missing. And our thoughts and our prayers go to the entire congregation and community for the safe return of Maya Gonzalez. This week we have a Mishabera list for Michael Barron, Naomi Berman, Herbert Brinker, Tracy Duquette, Yocheved Brucha Bat Devora Isabel Hutchins, Dr. Ann Kaler, Elise Kaplan, Kathy Katz, Sharon Kennedy, Jane Kincaid, Leslie Lotto, Ruth Martin, Linda Nicolette, Annette Prager, Hillary Katz-Reagan, George Kaufman, Moishe Rosenblum, Christine Ruckman, Jackie Sachs, Terry Stein, Dr. Hussein Tirani, Bonnie Tillman, Elise Zinman, Jean Atak, mother of Mildred Olstein's daughter-in-law, Roger Bell, friend of Barbara and Barry Adler, Patrick Clifton, husband of Sarah Clifton, Harriet Cohen, cousin of Mike Newsonoff, Joel Contreras, son of Kathy Katz, Beverly Gordon, mother of Amy Schwartz's daughter-in-law, Amy Hodges, daughter of Diane and Richard Lawrence, Kim Comrades, daughter of Rita Singer and Larry Singer, Sheldon Lieberman, friend of Barbara and Barry Adler, Joan Latic, is it Latic or Latic? Where's Rachel? I don't know how it's pronounced. Hope she's back. Cousin of Rachel and Darrell Etheridge, Richard Paulus, friend of Betsy Brody, Hillel Roebuck, cousin of Dale Berman Garfinkel, Ann Sack, daughter-in-law of Betsy Brody, Elizabeth Wardbrook, friend of Betsy Brody, Nicole Way, friend of Barbara and Barry Adler, and Steve Danzig. Anyone else who would like to offer a prayer of Misha Berach, please stand. I'll recognize you. Okay. We'll all turn to page 253 and sing the words of Debbie Friedman in a Misha Berach, an offering of prayer for health for these affirmed people. In the middle of the page. Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. So I got a call last night, or yesterday afternoon, saying, Rabbi's not feeling well, can you do services? So I didn't really have a whole lot of time to work on the sermon, so it's only going to be about 45 minutes or so. Is that okay? So, we usually base the sermon, at least in part, on the Torah portion, which this week is called Tzav. Tzav. It means command. What's interesting is that the word command is written as a verb conjugated in the command form, similar to if I said sit or stand. They are commands or imperatives. So who is being commanded to command? Adonai says to Moses, command Aaron and his sons, blah, 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 blah. And it's a lot of blah, blah, blah. It's a whole description of all these different sacrifices that they're supposed to make at the tent of the meeting in the wilderness as they wander for 40 years. And it describes an exhaustive list of what you're supposed to do, what parts go on the altar, what parts don't go on the altar, what to do with the blood. If you're a gourmet chef, maybe you'll see it as a cookbook, but most of us not. So it describes the Torah, or the laws, of the sacrifices. A burnt offering, a meal offering, a sin offering, a guilt offering, and a well-being offering. Then there's a summary statement. Such are the laws of the burnt offering, the meal offering, the sin offering, the guilt offering, the offering of ordination, and the sacrifice of well-being. Where did this ordination thing come from? We didn't mention it before. Such are the laws. Well, it's not mentioned before, but they go into detail afterwards. The description follows this summary statement. I'm not sure why it's a summary, but maybe to point it out to us. It says, quote, he brought forth the second ram, the ram of ordination. Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the ram's head, and it was slaughtered. Moses took some of the blood and put it on the ridge of Aaron's right ear, on the thumb of his right hand, and the big toe of his right foot. Moses then brought forward the sons of Aaron and put some of the blood on the ridges of their right ear, on their thumbs, and on their big right toes. And the rest of the blood Moses dashed on all the sides of the altar. I read this and I was like, this is so strange. Ear, thumb, toe. There are many commentaries about this. And some are from one perspective and some are mystical, but they all share one common theme. The ear signifies listening. The thumb is part of the hand, which is what we used to do and make things with. And the toe is all about going somewhere. So, for example, Aaron and the Kohanim, the religious leaders of ancient Israel, should listen to what the people say, do the right thing, and walk in the ways of God. That's the way I see it. These principles have led great leaders in history in the right direction. I think of leaders like Abraham Lincoln, or Teddy Roosevelt, or Winston Churchill, who always did what was right. I only wish that our elected officials today could follow these words of wisdom. Shabbat Shalom. Did you want to do announcements now, or
Do it at a different time.
do you want to do it later?
Sure, I can do it now. I can do it right now.
Okay, go
Whenever
ahead.
you want me to do it.
Go ahead.
All
Give me a
right.
break.
Hopefully you can hear me.
Here.
I want to thank Harvey. He literally, in a short amount of time, stepped up, and I appreciate him a lot. Wednesday night, if you've got reservations for the Seder, we plan to start at 6. We would like you to come around 5:30. And next Saturday is our once-a-month Saturday morning service at 10:30. We also, because of Passover, have a Yizkor service on the 14th at 6:15 here in the temple. We are doing a movie night again with the church on the 22nd, and it was so much fun when we did it about 2 months ago. So please try to come if you can. It's fun. We're doing a food drive, and we're trying to help Shai, and he's part of the Westport ROTC. There's a box out there now. Please try to start and bring things for the box. He's collecting until the 14th of April. Sisterhood has a general meeting on the 23rd. Let me see what else. You all know the regular. Amy's here, Toby, collecting trees and Union Grams. Everybody's here. I just want to let you know that this week's Onyx Shabbat is sponsored by Carolina Colin in honor of Robert's birthday. Happy birthday, Robert. Bema flowers tonight are by Susan Bernstein in honor of her birthday. Michelle Koski in honor of Meredith's birthday. And Ted and Marcel Swimmer in honor of their 54th anniversary. Congratulations. And one last thing I didn't mention, we're doing an active shooter training. It would be wonderful to have as many people come because we do need to, we hope we never use it, but you need to be knowledgeable. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Harvey.
Shabbat Shalom. We continue our service on page 282, and can the Colin boys and who else is here who's underage? We have one. Ari, open up the Ark for Aleinu on page 282. Please rise. We'll go the bottom of 282, and then we'll go to the top of 284. So please stay standing. Aleinu lishabeach ladon hakol latet gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kegoye haratzot velo samanu kemishbechot hadama shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'gohor aleinu kechol hamonam Banachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz ומושב יקרוב בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומי. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום השבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. You may be seated. We conclude on page 287 with Aleinu with Benemar. Benemar, Behaya Adonai, Lemelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, Yiyeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love, of loss, of life and death. On this week, the congregation remembers Walter Gordon, the father of Michelle Kolsky, Shaul Aharoni, the grandfather of Rachel Lakeach Etheridge, Abraham Falak, friend of the congregation, Mary Dowd, mother of Julie Rockland, grandmother of Rachel, Katie, and Emily Rockland, Stephen Jurofsky, husband of Rochelle Jurofsky, Ida Beshany, friend of the congregation, Jean Kupchik, mother of Diane Gilmore, Samuel Weinstein, friend of the congregation, and Hilda Garoff, mother of Janet Kreisman. We also recognize the Shloshim, the first 30 days after passing of Rachel Etheridge's friend, Ronnie Jacobs, and the Shloshim of Dan Horton, longtime member of our congregation who passed away this week, former board member and active member for many years. If there are any others whose names we should mention as a memorial yurtzeit this week, then all who wish to rise and recite, please do so and turn to page 294, as again we recite in Aramaic. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei dekudisha barichu. Le'elam min kor birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlam araba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom bimromav, ve'al kol Yisrael. Bimru. You may be seated. And now we come to the concluding hymn because it concludes the service. We shouldn't do the concluding hymn at the beginning, should we? Maybe we should. We'll do it all over again. So let's go to page 321 and sing Adon Olam. Now, Adon Olam is written in almost perfect meter, and you can sing almost any regular song to it. I had a cantor when I grew up who did the William Tell Overture, you know, the Lone Ranger? Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra. The older people in the congregation didn't like that. Once I did Do Adir, right? I did that. Adon Olam Asher Malach. But let's just do a traditional one. How's that? We'll do a sing-along, because we should all sing along. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'Chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon. Okay, so now you get it, right? Now you know how to do it? Let's really do it. Ready? Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'Chefzo Kol. Together. Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam V'Acharei Kichlot HaKol Livado Yimloch Nora Adon Olam V'Hu Haya V'Hu Hoveh V'Hu Yiyeh B'Tifara Adon Olam Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'Chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam V'Hu Echad V'Ein Sheni Lahamshilo Lahachbira Adon Olam Bili Reshit Bili Tachlit V'Lo Ha'oz V'Hamisra Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'Chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam V'Hu Eli V'Chai Goali V'Tzor Chevli B'Eit Zara Adon Olam V'Hu Nisi Umanosli Minat Kosi B'Yom Mikra Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'Chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam B'Yahado Avkid Ruchi B'Eiti Shan Ve'ayira Adon Olam V'Im Ruchi Geviati Adonai Li V'Lo Ira. This is your last chance. Come on. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'Chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Everybody, please go into the social hall. The Colons will lead us in the Kiddush. And everybody, Nash and Nibble. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you.
Sure.